Hello, my name is Megan O'Russell, and welcome to episode 4 of A Book and a Dream. Today, I want to talk to you about book binging, which happens to be one of my favorite activities. Now, as a society right now, we sort of seem to be very into content binging. With Netflix, Hulu, the new Disney Plus, we all love to dive into a story and just stay there. And really, it's absolutely no different with books. As a writer, it's my job to create content that readers want to binge. That's the goal. I want to make you so absorbed in the story that you can't put it down. But how do we do that? How do you make a binge-worthy book? The problem is it's different for every reader. For example, I wouldn't binge a book if everyone in the book just so happens to drop their pants every 10 pages. It just wouldn't interest me. Sure, pants dropping sometime is fun, but, if it happens every other chapter and everything else just stops, I'm kind of going to tune out, which is a problem because there are books that I will get stuck on for months at a time. Now, I'm not going to name names because I want to keep things positive and happy, but there are books that I will get stuck on for months at a time because I just can't finish them. It doesn't matter if they're short. It doesn't matter if they're long. I can't get through it. And I'm not a person who will just not finish a book. That's happened maybe 4 times in my entire life. Have I put down a book and just walked away? Some of them were considered American classics, but that's fine. We don't need to talk about that. I get stuck, and I don't want that to happen to my readers. So I want to make sure that I create things that I would want to binge. Things like Six of Crows. Now, why did I binge Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo? Because of the intrigue. I can't get enough of the action. I need to know what's going to happen next. And the way she sets up the story with all the different points of view, there's 5, I believe, in book 1 and 6 in book 2 in this series. You never know what's going to happen. I have to keep reading because I need to know where that story is going to go, or I'm never going to sleep again. So I will stay up till 4 in the morning if I'm reading Six of Crows. Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I hope I'm saying that right. She did not have someone say it for her on Google, so I tried my best. I love the characters in Stalking Jack the Ripper. I want to know where they're going to go because, quite frankly, it doesn't seem like they should be alive anymore. I'm fairly convinced at least twice a chapter that they're all going to die, and I need to know how they're going to figure it out so they don't die. So I will binge her books. They're great. If you haven't checked them out, you should. Maze Runner by James Dashner is another amazing example of a series that I binged all of them in 3 days. I read through the entire Maze Runner series because there was so much action, because there was so much high stakes drama going on. I had to know what was coming next. But it doesn't have to be all high stakes, who's gonna die. Let's take a story that goes a little bit slower, still high stakes, obviously, but Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. There are some periods in those books where, yeah, okay, someone's arm might, go jiggly, but there isn't real, death on the line. But you're so absorbed in the world that she's built, you don't want to put down the book because you don't want to have to go back to the real world. I would rather hang out with Butterbeer than do my laundry, so I'm going to keep book binging. So when I'm writing books, how exactly do I personally try to create binge-worthy content? The first thing I do is try and keep it quick. Keep the pacing quick. Yes, you need slow moments so you can get to know your characters, get to understand them, let them grow organically, let their relationships grow, let them fall in love. But I try to keep the pace up, try to keep the chapters shorter. Don't make it so that if you flip forward, you're like, well, I'm not going to be able to finish that chapter before the end of the night, so I'm just going to put it down. I try to keep the pacing quick. I also try to keep the dialogue nice and snappy. Make sure that it sounds like something you could say in your head. If you read the dialogue out loud, I want it to sound natural. I want it to sound like you are having a conversation. I actually force my husband to read aloud entire books to me just so that I make sure it all sounds good out loud. Thanks, hun. I appreciate your dedication. I also make sure that I keep the characters people that you want to care about. You care about how they're going to survive. You care about if they're hurt, and not just physically, if they're emotionally wounded. I want them to be people that you love. Even if that love is just loving to hate, I want them to be people who you're invested in, because it's that investment that makes you binge. We all have the same amount of time in a day. If I'm reading a book that I'm going to binge, when I read the Throne of Glass series by Sarah Maas, I read the entire series in a month. I had the same amount of time and work that I have every other month, but I rearranged my schedule so I'd have 5 minutes there, 10 minutes there, just never sleep, so that I could finish the books. There are other books where I'm going to sleep for 9 hours and not feel guilty that I don't know what's coming in the next chapter. So, when you binge a book, what makes you binge? What authors make you binge? Is it the dialogue, the romance, the action, the pants dropping? What makes you binge? Let me know. You can put it in the comments. You can reach out to me on social media. I want to know what drives you from chapter to chapter until you realize that you're just going to live off of coffee until the series is done. Let me know. And don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, whatever it is on your preferred platform for listening and watching A Book and a Dream. And I will see you next time.